as the worst president. But I swear this dude has to be 45. But I got to do a Gronk, y'all call it GP chat or whatever else. I'm not paying fucking $200 a month for GP chat. I'll go ahead and use the free Google or fucking Gronk real quick. But let me go ahead and do this search and do a comparison, because this motherfucker is trash. I get it, Buchanan was crooked. He freaking, they say prolonged the Civil War, yeah, whatever. Or not prolonged it, he forced the Civil War and all other shit, but Trump is trash, dude.
I think the part that makes it 80 times worse is just the open corruption at this point. I mean, at least if there was corruption before, you know, most governors, presidents, senators, whatever, what have you, had at least the moral tenacity to try to hide that shit. This man is out here buying Bitcoin right now like it's Brewster's Millions, and so other companies need to pay this shit, and we're just supposed to be like, well, that's our American president. And then I think I saw one TikToker, I want to give her credit for it. She's like, you should just change from breaking news to look what this motherfucker did now. Like, and it would just save us so much time, you know, because breaking news is like completely broken. Yeah. So
it sounds like a money laundering scheme. You're right.
It is money laundering.
And any other president would have the common decency.
No, there's no money laundering, Walter. We've gone past money laundering. This is complete. We're watching the president get bribed in real time, right? When you launder money, you take ill-gotten gains and then you wash and facilitate it like his bullshit ass hotels or casinos.
Bitcoin.
Right? But now with Bitcoin and the rest of the way this shit's set up, he's literally just taking money now.
Well, that's
like he's just
right. No,
he's not doing shit. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I agree with everything you just said. It's embezzlement, it's money laundering, it's all of the above. But specifically, we've never seen money laundering done with the actual currency. Here's something you can actually leverage the U.S. dollar against. It's extremely disgusting, Victoria. It's the most unacceptable behavior I've ever seen with our money by any president. The fact that he would even entertain the notion of a Chuck E. Cheese coin. You know, just put all your money here. And then all he needs to do is have the owner give him the actual U.S. dollars in the back door. Now it's all washed. And I can give it to the Senate seats and all this shit. So it has a cap. It has an expiration date.
Well, I think the clear case cut that I always want to throw in is the Snoop Dogg inauguration. And the reason I say that is Snoop Dogg got paid in money, but more importantly, he got paid in crypto. Then basically, use the colloquial term, niggas went nuts over that shit and bought that in drove. That very night, they crashed that crypto and pulled out.
Wow.
So at a point of we're just watching fraudulent fun. Yeah, exactly. But let's not be confused with his goddamn perfume that he's selling a couple of days ago for $200 to smell like his musky dusky ass. You know, so it's just, if you didn't look like a fucking walking QVC before, you definitely look like one fucking now. You know, it's just embarrassing at this point. And you got that whore Kristi Noem running around here, which is not killing people's dogs, like, you know, up here assaulting our actual senators.
So I did do a search on Gronk about the Trump meme coin. Because I remember reading something about something with possible money laundering. And it says a Solana-based token allegedly found as DJT appeared online. Rumors swirled that Trump's son Barron was involved in launching it. Everybody's tracking that now. Trump didn't publicly endorse it initially, but his campaign eventually confirmed ties to the crypto venture. The concerns that were raised was the token's launch was surrounded by anonymity, pump and dump fears, and speculation of insider trading. Critics, including blockchain analysts, warned it looked like a scam coin using Trump's brand for profit. If Trump and his family were involved behind the scenes and profiting without disclosure, it will raise SEC and fraud concerns. However, as now, there is no confirmed evidence, but there is murky behavior. Then they actually added Taj Mahal. The key facts behind the Taj Mahal fencing: U.S. Treasury fined Taj Mahal $10 million in 2015 for willful and repeated violations of Bank Secrecy Act. The casino failed to report suspicious financial activity, including transactions that could be linked to money laundering. These included large cash transactions, suspicious patrons, poor anti-money laundering practices, and the fine came after Trump no longer ran the casino, but many violations began during his leadership. Fence's statement: Trump Taj Mahal has a long history of repeated BSA violations dating back to 2003. So while Trump was not personally charged, the business he founded and ran for years facilitated money laundering behaviors through negligence or willful ignorance. So yeah, he's been money laundering.
Actually, if I could just jump in just real quick, because ProPublica did do a whole thing. I forgot, the Trump Inc. Was the podcast, and they literally talked about how the Gaming Board Commission, and I'm glad that you brought that up, the Gaming Board Commission did cite and put violations onto both the Trump's casinos, because what they would do is they would take money, because when you put money into it, like you buy, like, let's say you buy like 1,000 chips, I'm just keeping it around, right? You can then basically walk to another casino and then wash those same chips, right? If it's over a certain amount, you have to have it reported. I think, what is it, like $10,000? Well, what the Trump casinos would do is they would just take the mob's money. The mob would go to like Circus or whatever casino, buy said chips, go to the Trump hotel or Trump casinos, and then wash those chips without reporting it. And at first it was, and that's how he picked up. What was the first attorney that he threw on the nut? Was it Cohen? That's how he picked up Cohen. Right. Because Cohen he handled the New York mobs. And then, you know, as his zeal for money gotten bigger and bigger, right? That's how they ended up basically starting working with the Russians. Because he would rush the Russians' ill-gotten gains. That's why Russia used to have all those banks. And they had to close down all those banks except for Deutsche Bank. But more importantly, I mean, there was even a famous quote by Donald Trump Jr. saying that if we ever needed money, we could just always ask the Russians. That's where a lot of that came from. So he started off with, and it's funny because you did speak about pump and dump. As far as I'm concerned, like, and I have Alk on the stage here, crypto is going to be the biggest pump and dump I think that we've ever seen in recorded history at this point. Literally at this point. Because you have literally world leaders buying into crypto up to I think the Saudis, was it $2 billion they put into that man's crypto, that we just watched him to say, hey, thanks for buying into my crypto, and then all it is just a matter of time before they pull that shit out, and then that becomes worthless. But more importantly, people are literally just, you know, putting their hard-earned, scraping their little pennies, putting that shit together to try to get into crypto, and it's just, at one point, someone's going to pull the rug out.
But Thomas, make a delineation between tokens and crypto, because there's a huge delineation. Because there's crypto that actually there's some coins that have use case, and those are very different than what you're referring to, the pump and dumps. Those are very different. Like, for instance, the WLFI, those are governance tokens. They actually, those WLFI holders only receive voting rights on protocol upgrades and like partnerships and things like that. They're non-transferable. That's when you know it's a pump and dump. WLFI, y'all know who that is, World Liberty Financial. That's Trump's company that Steve Witkoff's son, Zach Witkoff, is the head of, and Steve Witkoff is the emissary that negotiated a lot of the Middle East deals. That's who Trump sends out, who was not elected, but represents him because they go back in the real estate world. And those pump and dumps are non-transferable. They can't be traded. They can't be sold. They only serve as a tool for participation. Okay? That's a pump and dump because it has no use case. There's no, you can't even trade it or sell it. It's not transferable. It's simply to buy it as a participation tool, and then just to say, hey, Trump has a coin, let's buy one. Bam. You can't trade it, you can't sell it, you can't do anything with it. It's just participation. That's a pump and dump because it has no value. People participating in it actually skyrockets the value. They don't pull the money out of the value of the crypto. They go get a loan for that because of the valuation. Then it tanks. And it's a loan, it's not taxable, they keep the money. That's how that works. So there's a huge difference. Like the USD1, the stable coin, is fiat backed. It's a 1-to-1 on the US dollar, backed by the short-term treasuries. So that's a different, the stable coin is different. That's usable across DeFi integration like Ethereum, and all of those different blockchain. It can be used, and it has a use case. So make that delineation between the two.
Thank you for that.
That's why they're investigating now. I mean, who is that? Senator Warren and Merkley actually formally requested records of World Liberty Financial. They requested that because they want the records to see whether that $2 billion deal involving MGX fund and Binance by the UAE. And what was it, the 22nd? They bought another 100 million. UAE bought another 100 million of Trump's coin. Literally. So that's just flat out, it's not dark money anymore, it's light money. Because they're just funneling money into his pockets with a token that has no use case whatsoever. In May 2025, that Senate resolution, I don't know, it's like 243, something like that. They condemned WLFI ties to Donald Trump and foreign people. That's what they did. And they're literally actively, now there's no public open investigation. There's no public open investigation, but they have requested a Senate investigation over ethics and, like Patty said, for funding and regulatory oversight. They're doing that. The SEC has been asked by Warren and Merkley to produce those documents. So it's an issue. It's out there. They're looking into it, but how far it goes, who only knows? But yeah, there's a.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we were talking about earlier, was just the fact that with Trump, the corruption it's visible from face at this point. And one of the things that I wish we talked more about was the fact that Stephen Miller has personal stock into a lot of these prisons that are being built to house these immigrants that are being picked up off the street that are cutting our grass. So that's just one part of it, as they better enrich themselves, because it's at this point, it's not even trying to build the American dollar, right? It's about building crypto. And I think, what was it? It was Keish that asked, what happens when this all crashes? Well, the people that pulled out when the price was high. And then everybody else, just like in the Snoop Dogg reference, is left holding the bag. and that money is never going to come back. That stock is never going to go anywhere, and it's just a fugazi. But thank you for explaining the difference, because like, to tell you the truth, anything with crypto for me or tokens. One of the things that always stuck in my mind is that if any small country, like let's say in Kazakhstan, decides that they want to go ahead and regulate it, it depreciates like a fucking rock. Like, you have a better chance of buying, like, I don't know, a Ford fucking Focus brand new off the lot and understanding the depreciation of that when you drive it off the lot and try to sell it. At least it's something tangible. But this crypto, I've seen people make money on it, and I've seen a lot more people lose it. And the fact that you have this con artist in chief up here trying to buy Bitcoin for, what is it? It's like $2 billion at this point. Speaks volumes on where this administration's heading for this fucking country.
Well, let me answer Kish's question in the chat, which is really pertinent. Understand the difference between a stable coin, mint coin like this Trump coin, and Bitcoin. It is different than the US dollar. The reason why is because there's a limited amount. Imagine what'll happen if the government says, we're taking up all of the cash on the planet, and we're only going to print $2 million worth of currency. Say if they decided to do that, would that currency be more or less valuable the longer it exists? It's going to increase in value because there is no more. That's the reason why it's going to... Well, Emperor, let me finish my statement and then you can come and rebut it, bro.
Wait. What are we talking about?
I just wanted to answer the question in the chat because Kish asked the question. She said, what if they dump everything? And I just wanted to highlight that there's a finite amount of Bitcoin. There is not a finite amount of Trump's token. He can mint those till the cows come home. And stable coins, there's no finite amount. It's just like the American dollar. They can print an unlimited amount of cash. And the fact that there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, only ever, there will be no more. That actually, even if a country decides to dump it and say, hey, we don't want it, we're not going to recognize this currency anymore. It's like a diamond. A diamond, there's a limited amount. Well, I don't know whether there's a limited amount of diamonds, but the fact that they're hard to get, and the more difficult they are to get, the more value they have. Just like a car. A rare car, because they don't make it anymore, increases in value because they don't make it anymore. It's like anything else. The Picassos have never dropped in value because people don't want to buy them. There's never going to be any more. And Bitcoin was created on the same premise that there's a limited amount, there won't ever be any more, and that ensures its value as opposed to stable coins. That's all I wanted to say. I hope that answers your question.
No, that was wrong. In economics, restricted supply does not guarantee price level stability in relation to any other commodity like US dollars. So I have no idea. Like, restricted supply of anything does not guarantee price level stability in relation to another commodity.
I never said guarantee. I said it was based on that premise. That's what I said.
The premise is wrong.
Okay, Philip. I mean, you can have your opinion. I can have mine.
No, explain what. So explain why the premise is wrong, because it's not about opinion. We gotta know the facts on this, yeah. So explain why GA or.
No, he said it's wrong. I disagree with
Okay.
Philip.
So Emperor, explain why I'm not calling you Emperor.
Okay.
Philip.
So I'm gonna make a handmade, I don't know, I'm going to sign my name 6 times and I'm never going to sign anything else. Does that automatically set some type of a demand for my signature? Does it command automatically some type of a price? There is no market for it. Correct?
But Philip, you can't equate that to Bitcoin because it's actually being used as currency. Your signature will never be used as currency.
Okay, so here we go. Now you can explain and how. See, the restrictedness doesn't matter. The use matters. The demand matters, right? So you agree with me?
No, I don't agree with you because your analogy is not a like to like. It's not oranges to oranges.
He's not talking about the analogy anymore. He's asking you.
Yeah. Well, my point is that the demand plus the fact that there's not going to be any more made.
Now that's better.
That's what the premise was built on.
Now that it's a better statement, you didn't mention demand before.
Well, I mean, that goes without saying because people are using
it. Why does it go
without
saying? I'm sorry to you. How much confident you are that demand is always going to be there in relation to conversion to dollar to somehow guarantee that restricted supply would command higher prices? Where is that confidence from?
Well, let me explain it this way. One, there is a demand to obfuscate and take the power of finance. There was always be a demand for decentralized finance, always, because of the fact that in every single country, well, not in every single country, a lot of countries, a lot of the civilized world, there is a discontent that the government actually has control of the currency. They manipulate inflation, they manipulate the markets, and they do that all by the way they control the fiat currency. So the initial premise of creating crypto in the first place was decentralized finance, to take the banks out of the equation, to take the government out of the equation, to take the federal treasury out of the equation. That was the premise. So I'm saying, in my personal opinion, I don't think the demand to actually, the desire to operate outside of the grubby hands of the government will never go away. I don't think it will. I think there will always be people that say, hey, I want a way to pay my friend over here in another country without the government actually controlling how much this is worth. I think that desire will always exist. And that's just a personal opinion.
Okay, that's a better, more clarifying statement. At least we heard demand, because the previous statement was, anyway, you corrected it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm lost. But
I don't want to go into the whole government controlling fiat. I'm doing it.
go ahead, Dr. AG, because you can explain it.
So I'll just make it real quick. So I think Philip's objection was that the previous speaker, I wasn't looking and I couldn't identify the voice, said that the thing that made these things valuable was that there wasn't very many of them. And Philip's point was, no, it's not solely the number of them that is available, but it's that the supply, the number available, is less than the number of people who want it. So the previous statement missed the demand side, that the thing is valuable because people want it. You can have 6 of something, but if nobody wants it, it's worth $1. But if I, create this thing and somebody really famous invests in it, and then I die and there's only 5 of them, then the thing becomes valuable because now that person has created a demand, has attached a demand value to it. So that's what Philip was saying. When the previous speaker qualified the demand, it made the statement more accurate. That's all.
See, that's why you a professor, Dr. AJ. Go, girl. Because I was like, what the fuck is going on with this conversation? Oh, Jesus Christ. I said Jesus Christ.
So to sum things up, Trump is a criminal. He's using crypto to get paid by governments. Apparently, there is a difference between crypto and tokens. And Patty, thanks for your service, and that's all I got. I gotta get to work. Oh wait! I have a question because I did want to ask you. Did you happen to see a clip of Trump's birthday party? Of the soldiers walking not in unistep and looking soft. Okay. No, my question was this though, right? Was that a Foxtrot Delta? All right.
Hey, nephew, I thought you had a question that you wanted to ask me real quick.
I did, but I got lost in the sauce on this one. So.
Me too.
We'll catch up later.
Sometimes no, that's what you're talking, and I'm like, oh, okay, it makes sense.
Oh, okay, I remember now. Nebraska. Remember we were talking about Nebraska? I think the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
Apparently the banks aren't foreclosing on the houses yet.
Oh, they aren't. Interesting.
No. They're calling. They're like. Yeah, they're like, call me, run me my money, and they're like, but apparently it would depreciate the value so hard that they're not foreclosing. I think I saw it. Yeah, so I was just a little tidbit update on that one. All right, I think that's all I got. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
Hey, nephew, don't leave your crypto hanging around. California just passed a law that if you leave a crypto account dormant for 3 years, the state can take control of it.
Bro, I got Spanish doubloons buried in my backyard. Going back to 1772. It's pirates at this point. I'm about to go back to the barter and trade system in a minute once this big, ugly ass, dumb ass bill passes.
Okay, Johnny Depp.
Let me tell you what's so funny. Last night they were talking about in another room about this big beautiful bill, and some farmer was in the room and brought up what is it called? I know in New York, my mom used to do it. Fuck. Is it CSB?
CSA?
CSA, yeah.
Yeah, we do that, Pat.
So my mom used to do this shit, but the one in New York was weird. So like, she would get a box,
Baldy.
and they'd give you like whatever.
Oh no, not the old shit. Was it the old shit?
So okay, I'm old. So
No. I mean like it was like the produce kind of expiring, like discounted. Was it like
no. It wasn't old.
Okay.
It was like say for example, it was like I'll give you an example. So let's say it was sweet potatoes. I'm just giving you some bullshit. Sweet potatoes, celery, and carrots, right? And we may get X amount of pounds of celery, and it'd be a lot. And we don't even fucking eat celery, so my mom would be like, yeah, this is going to be in your lunch box when you go to school. Because that was the seasonal vegetable. And it wasn't like she could just choose. It was like whatever the farmer said in that box, because you had a subscription or whatever it is. And she had to pick it up from a local area. If we had a whole bunch of celery and maybe only 10 potatoes, it is what it is, and that was supposed to be egg. So they were talking about that, right? Like, oh yeah, they do this and that. I was like, yo, that shit sucked for me as a kid, like, because you didn't get to choose. You didn't get to choose, and my mom made it a thing where you were gonna eat that shit. And supposedly it is cheaper, but you have to buy it, and they only did it like once a month, so they like. If your income can't just pay for that whole month of freaking, some people buy groceries every week. Your income can't pay for that month of freaking,
CSA subscription.
CSA subscription. then you're still going to have to shop at the local grocery store. So, like, one of the guys, when I brought that up, he said, yeah, I looked into that about a year ago, and he said his CSA subscription, which he could choose from the seasonal vegetables. So I guess now you can choose. Even when you can choose from the seasonal vegetables, it's about $1,000 or $800 to $1,000 a month. And I was like, what the? Yes.
What?
And he said, but he lives in Colorado.
Oh, even so, that's egregious. I never heard of anything.
Right.
Wow.
Man, I can get Fresh Express cheaper than that. What they doing?
Yeah. And then you think about, I mean, maybe they get in a delivery every week, Patty, right? Because that's the option with the CSA. You can do it once a month, every other week, or if you got it like that, every week if you like got fresh produce right there at your door. Maybe even more frequent.
It might be easier in California because of New York does have a lot of farmland too,
but you're right. No, that does make sense. If it is seasonal, you're right. It's going to cost more, for like a New York. But I mean, that's the whole point. At CSA, it should ideally, right? The format should look like it's your local farmer offering this to you, or like a small group of local farmers offering this to you.
yeah, it's a group. For New York, it was like a group. So it's like whatever that group produces during that season is what you get. And it's like, for us, it was like, what do we got this month? Fuck, it's more carrots. Like, you just be